Underwater-based exploration games are usually some of my favorites, with gorgeous scenery and a very relaxing atmosphere, and there's a brand new one called Abzu for the PlayStation 4. But is this journey worth taking on, or should it just be fed to the sharks? Abzu is the first game released from Giant Squid Studios, which was founded by one of the directors of Journey and Flower, two of the absolute most gorgeous and breathtaking games when I first played them back on the PlayStation 3. Abzu lives up to that, as it's one of the prettiest looking games I have played in recent memory. You play as a nameless scuba diver-esque character, and you're not given a lot of backstory or any real story throughout the course of the game. It's all done without dialogue being spoken. As you slowly explore the ocean depths, you're given more story by finding paintings in ruins, and slowly finding the intruders that have invaded this underwater paradise. After getting a very brief tutorial and getting a hang of the controls, you quickly find that the game controls extremely well as you're moving your underwater explorer through the depths of the ocean. There's no health bars to worry about. You're not going to have to worry about fighting other enemies. It's just about exploring and solving these small puzzles here and there that the game presents to you. You'll discover robots along your adventure that end up becoming your friend, and they will help you interact with various objects, switches, and levers so that you'll be able to open up the next area that you have to go to. But the game never points you exactly where you're supposed to go, but it kind of slowly guides you in that direction. You'll come to a door and realize this is where I have to go next, and then you'll see chains connected to it. You go to the source of the chains in order to open up the switches, so thus you can then move on to the next area. There's also a few collectibles to find along your adventures, including seashells, portals that are trapping certain fish, and then statues that you can meditate on and actually just sit there and relax as the camera takes control on various fish that are in the area around you, and you can just sit there and watch the game and look at the beautiful scenery as the fish move around. In order to move your character forward, you'll use R2 in order to dive down and to keep forward momentum, pressing the square button to interact with objects, X to get a little bit of a speed boost, and at other times you can actually hit L2 to grab onto various fish in the area and let them take you for a little bit of a journey. There's a lot of areas in the game that are bridged by these long corridors with a lot of drift that is taking you through as you're swimming through, and big giant clusters and schools of fish, and it's absolutely a feast for the eyes each and every time you get to do this. The game uses color very well, with multiple areas not just being a blue or dark blue. You'll have greens, pinks, yellows, and even dark reds and brooding areas that you'll get to explore as well. To set the mood for your journey, the soundtrack that goes along with Abzu is absolutely gorgeous. I cannot wait to sit there and listen to this soundtrack on a rainy day where I just want to relax, and I can turn this soundtrack up and just fully kind of wash away all the world around me. The soundtrack is absolutely beautiful, and I highly recommend it. Even if you don't check out this game, check out the soundtrack for it. The game is broken up into chapters, though you don't really get any semblance of when you're entering into another chapter. In fact, I didn't even realize how the chapters worked until I ended up completing the game, and then you can drop back into any previous chapter you've already explored, especially if you want to go and just look at the scenery or collect the collectibles you may have missed on your first time through. Throughout my play session, the game ran fine, and I only had a couple of very minor slowdowns, which really weren't a hindrance but a disappointment. But there was so many fish on screen at one time, I'm not surprised that it had a few hiccups here and there, but they were extremely minor. The game never really bogged down too much and definitely never crashed. The biggest issue though when it comes to Abzu is its overall length. The length of the journey, even if you take your time, is not going to take you more than probably 2 hours to get through. In fact, on my first playthrough, it was less than an hour and a half in order for me to finish up. Granted, I still have to go back and find collectibles I missed along the way, but the game is incredibly short for what it is. The game is available for PlayStation 4 and Steam for $19.99, and I really want to recommend it because of just how absolutely gorgeous the game looks and sounds as you play it, but it's a bit hard to do so at the price point that the game currently is. If you're someone who enjoyed Flower or Journey, you're probably going to love Abzu. Do not expect a combat-heavy or story-driven game. There is story, don't get me wrong, but it's subjective and you're exploring the areas to really kind of figure out what's going on, with only a few cutscenes here and there that end up playing out. They really give you any semblance of character development. However, I don't think it was quite as good as Journey was after my initial playthrough, which Journey was an absolute amazing game, but unfortunately all these styles of games suffer from being relatively short for the artistic creativity that they end up presenting. Because of how it looks and sounds though, I'm going to be giving the game a 7 out of 10, but I will only recommend it to those who really loved games like Flower, Journey, short and sweet experiences that are much more about what you're looking at and listening to than maybe necessarily the gameplay that you're actually controlling. But anyway guys, that's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.